Have you ever been in a situation where someone was blatantly rude to you and you just stood there unsure of how to respond? Maybe it was a coworker, a stranger, or even someone close to you. They threw out a disrespectful comment, and before you could think of the perfect comeback, the moment had already passed. Or maybe you did respond, but later you felt like you could have handled it so much better. Does that sound familiar? We've all been there. Dealing with rude people can be frustrating, especially when they seem to have no regard for respect or basic manners. But here's the thing, how you respond can completely change the dynamic. You don't have to get angry, raise your voice, or sink to their level. Instead, you can use smart, confident responses that make them instantly regret disrespecting you. In this video, I'm going to give you 5 powerful ways to shut down rude people effectively without looking weak or overly aggressive. Whether you're dealing with a passive-aggressive remark, a direct insult, or just plain bad behavior, these techniques will help you maintain control and leave the other person second-guessing their actions. But before we get into it, do me a quick favor. If you like content that helps you become more confident, stand up for yourself, and handle difficult situations with ease, make sure to like this video, share it with someone who needs it, and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on future uploads. Now, let's dive in. 1. The power of silence. Sometimes, the most effective response to disrespect is not responding at all. Silence is a tool that few people use effectively, but when used correctly, it can be more powerful than any words you could ever say. When someone disrespects you, they're usually looking for a reaction. They want to see you get angry, defensive, or flustered. They want to feel like they have control over your emotions. But what happens when you don't give them what they expect? Imagine someone throwing a disrespectful comment your way, waiting for you to snap back, argue, or show frustration. Instead, you pause, you take a deep breath. You look at them, not with anger, but with a calm and knowing expression. Maybe you raise an eyebrow slightly or give a small smirk. Then you say nothing. That silence is deafening. It forces the rude person to sit with their own words without the satisfaction of getting under your skin. Many people don't realize it, but silence creates discomfort for those who thrive on conflict. When you don't react the way they expect, they suddenly start questioning themselves. They wonder if they went too far, if they embarrassed themselves, or if they just made a fool out of themselves. Silence also gives you power because it allows you to remain in control of the conversation. When people lash out with rude comments, they are often acting on impulse. They want a quick emotional reaction, but when they don't get one, they lose momentum. By not engaging, you strip them of their control. They may try to fill the silence by backtracking, justifying their words, or even apologizing. And even if they don't, your lack of response sends a message that you are unshaken and completely unbothered by their attempt to get under your skin. Think about the times when you have seen this in action. Perhaps you have witnessed someone make a rude joke, only for the person on the receiving end to remain silent, letting the awkwardness settle over the room. That silence speaks volumes. It tells everyone present that the rude remark wasn't funny, wasn't worth engaging with, and that the person who said it may have just embarrassed themselves. Another reason silence is so powerful is that it puts the responsibility of the disrespect back onto the person who dished it out. If someone is used to getting reaction from people, they may not even realize the impact of their words. But when they are met with nothing but a calm, collected silence, they have no choice but to sit with the weight of what they said. It forces them to reflect, even if just for a moment. However, silence doesn't mean weakness. It doesn't mean you are avoiding confrontation, or that you don't know how to stand up for yourself. On the contrary, silence is a sign of confidence. It shows that you don't need to waste your time and energy on someone who doesn't deserve it. It proves that their words hold no power over you. Of course, there are situations where you may need to speak up, but the key is knowing when silence is the better option. If someone is trying to provoke you, silence can be the perfect way to shut them down without escalating the situation. If the comment is so ridiculous that it doesn't even deserve a response, your silence will communicate that loud and clear. So, the next time someone disrespects you, take a moment. Instead of rushing to react, consider using the power of silence. Let them sit in their own words. Let the awkwardness grow. Watch as they start to second-guess themselves. You'll be surprised at just how powerful it can be. 2. The confident reversal. When someone insults you, your first instinct might be to defend yourself or fire back with an insult of your own. That is exactly what the rude person expects. They want a reaction. They want to see you get flustered, frustrated, or angry. But what if, instead of reacting emotionally, you flip the script on them? What if you responded in a way that completely threw them off balance? This is where the confident reversal comes into play. Instead of meeting hostility with hostility, you use a calm and controlled response that forces the other person to either explain themselves or backtrack entirely. Let's say someone looks at you and says, "You're so lazy." Most people would either deny it outright, "No, I'm not," or get defensive, "You don't even know how much I do." But neither of these responses actually shift the conversation in your favor. Instead, try saying, "That's interesting. What makes you say that?" This does two things. First, it puts the pressure back on the person who made the insult. Instead of getting a rise out of you, they now have to explain their reasoning. Many people who throw out insults do so without much thought. They rely on the fact that the person they're insulting will react emotionally rather than logically. But when you ask them to elaborate, you are forcing them into a rational conversation, something they likely weren't prepared for. Second, this response makes you appear completely unbothered. You're not getting upset. You're not retaliating. Instead, you are acting as if their words have no power over you. And nothing frustrates a rude person more than realizing their insult had no effect. Let's take another example. Imagine someone tells you, "You're terrible at your job." A typical reaction might be to argue back, "No, I'm not. I work really hard." But a confident reversal would be to say, "Oh, what specifically makes you think that?" Now, the person has to either come up with a legitimate reason or admit that they were just trying to be rude. If they do try to justify their insult, you have the opportunity to address their reasoning in a calm and professional manner. But often, they won't have a solid answer, and they will either stutter, backtrack, or try to change the subject. Another great variation of the confident reversal is simply saying, "Are you okay?" This works particularly well when someone is being especially aggressive or irrational. Instead of engaging with their negativity, you flip the focus onto them. By asking if they're okay, you subtly suggest that their behavior is out of the ordinary, almost like you're concerned for them. This can make them second-guess their attitude and even feel embarrassed for acting so rudely. It is important to remember that people who insult others are often dealing with their own insecurities. They project their frustrations onto others because it gives them a false sense of control. But when you refuse to play their game, they lose that control. The key to making the confident reversal work is staying calm and composed. The moment you show anger or frustration, you lose the upper hand. But if you deliver your response with neutral or even slightly amused tone, you maintain control of the interaction. So the next time someone insults you, resist the urge to fire back. Instead, pause for a moment, look them in the eye, and ask them to explain themselves. More often than not, they will be caught off guard, and you will walk away from the situation feeling empowered rather than frustrated. 3. The sarcastic sting. Sarcasm is one of the most effective ways to handle a rude person when used correctly. It allows you to respond in a way that is witty, dismissive, and confidence-boosting, all while making the rude person feel foolish for even trying. The beauty of sarcasm is that it shows you are in control of the conversation, unbothered by their negativity, and even amused by their attempt to put you down. When someone insults you, they usually expect one of two things: either an angry reaction, which gives them satisfaction, or a defensive response, which makes them feel like they have power over you. Sarcasm completely throws them off because it neither engages in the negativity nor ignores it. It turns their own words into something ridiculous. Let's break it down with some examples. How sarcasm shuts down rude comments. Imagine someone says, "Wow, you're really bad at this." A typical reaction might be to argue, say something defensive, or feel embarrassed. But instead, imagine responding with, "Thanks for your expert opinion. I'll be sure to cherish it forever." Said with a smile, this response flips the insult right back at them. It makes their comment seem unnecessary and even silly, instead of looking like they had the upper hand. Now they seem like the one wasting their time making useless remarks. Another example. Someone at work might say, "I don't think you're smart enough to handle this." Instead of letting that get under your skin, you could respond with, "Oh, that's a relief. I was worried I'd have to take on even more responsibility." Now, instead of feeling insulted, you've turned their comment into something that makes them question their own words. They expected you to react with frustration, but instead, you played it off as if you don't even take them seriously. The psychology behind sarcasm. Sarcasm works because it changes the emotional dynamic of the conversation. Instead of showing that their words have power over you, sarcasm makes it clear that you are in control. It takes away the impact of the insult by making it look ridiculous or trivial. Most rude people are not prepared for a sarcastic response. They expect either submission, where you get upset, or fight, where you argue back. When neither of those happens, they are left in an awkward position, unsure of what to say next. Additionally, sarcasm can expose the immaturity of the person who made the rude comment. If they continue to push the insult after you've responded sarcastically, they start to look desperate for attention. Meanwhile, you come across as cool, confident, and unfazed. The right way to deliver sarcasm. Sarcasm is most effective when it is delivered calmly and with confidence. The key is in your tone and body language. Here's how to make sure your sarcasm lands perfectly. Keep a relaxed tone. If you sound too aggressive, sarcasm can come across as mean-spirited rather than witty. The best sarcastic comebacks are said with a light, almost amused tone. Use facial expressions wisely. A smirk, raised eyebrow, or slight shrug can add to the effect. It shows that you are not bothered and that you see their insult as laughable. Pause before responding. A slight pause before delivering a sarcastic remark can increase its impact. It makes it clear that you are choosing your words carefully and that their insult didn't get an immediate rise out of you. Know when to walk away. Sarcasm is great for shutting down rude people, but if they continue to be aggressive, sometimes the best response is to disengage completely. Situations where sarcasm works best. While sarcasm is an excellent tool, it is important to know when to use it. Here are some situations where sarcasm is especially effective. Dealing with passive-aggressive people. If someone is making backhanded compliments or subtle digs, sarcasm can expose their behavior without escalating the situation. Shutting down arrogant individuals. People who think they are superior often do not know how to handle sarcasm. It forces them to rethink their approach. Responding to workplace rudeness. A well-placed sarcastic remark can remind a disrespectful coworker that their negativity is unnecessary. Handling social situations with confidence. If a so-called friend is always making jokes at your expense, sarcasm can remind them that you're not an easy target. When not to use sarcasm. Although sarcasm is a great tool, there are times when it is better to choose another approach. Serious conversations. If someone is genuinely upset or trying to discuss something important, sarcasm can come across as dismissive or disrespectful. Authority figures. If you're dealing with a boss, professor, or someone in a leadership position, sarcasm might not be the best choice. Instead, a professional but firm response is better. Highly aggressive individuals. Some people may take sarcasm as a challenge, leading to an unnecessary argument. In such cases, it is sometimes better to stay silent or use a different technique. Sarcasm is a powerful tool for dealing with rude people. When used correctly, it allows you to shut down negativity while keeping your confidence intact. It makes it clear that you are not intimidated or affected by their words. The next time someone tries to put you down, resist the urge to argue or get defensive. Instead, take a deep breath, smile, and hit them with a sarcastic comeback. Watch as they struggle to respond, realizing that their attempt to insult you has completely backfired. For the mirror effect, one of the best ways to deal with a rude person is to reflect their behavior right back at them without losing your composure. This technique, known as a mirror effect, is powerful because it forces people to confront their own actions in real time. Instead of engaging in an argument, you calmly hold up a figurative mirror, making them see their own behavior for what it is. Most people who act rudely do so without even realizing it. They interrupt, dismiss others, or make condescending remarks without a second thought. But when you calmly point out their behavior in a neutral and composed manner, it makes them uncomfortable. Not because you're being aggressive, but because they are suddenly aware of how they are acting. This moment of self-awareness often makes them rethink their actions and, in many cases, correct them. The key to the mirror effect is to keep your tone and body language calm and composed. If you sound angry or defensive, the person might become more combative. But if you present your words as a neutral observation, they are far more likely to feel awkward and backtrack on their rudeness. Why the mirror effect works. The mirror effect works on a psychological level. People generally dislike being called out, especially when they're forced to face the truth about their behavior. Here's why this technique is so effective. It creates self-awareness. Many rude people act without realizing how their words or actions affect others. When you calmly bring it to their attention, it makes them self-conscious. It shifts the power dynamic. Rude people often enjoy making others feel small. By pointing out their behavior, you regain control of the interaction. It forces accountability. When someone is rude, they usually expect you to either get defensive or ignore it. By reflecting their behavior back at them, you force them to acknowledge what they're doing. It keeps you in control. Instead of letting their behavior get under your skin, you stay calm and composed, which makes you appear confident and unshakable. Examples of the mirror effect in action. Let's go over some common rude behaviors and how the mirror effect can be used effectively. 1. Interruptions. Imagine you're speaking, and someone keeps cutting you off before you can finish your thoughts. Instead of getting irritated or talking over them, you pause and calmly say, "I notice you keep cutting me off. Do you do that with everyone or just me?" This forces them to stop and recognize their habit. Most people will immediately feel awkward and either apologize or allow you to continue speaking. Another variation could be, "I'd love to finish my point, but it seems like you have a lot to say. Would you like to go first?" Deliver with a calm tone and a slight smile. This makes it clear that you've noticed their behavior, but you're not reacting emotionally. 2. Passive-aggressive remarks. If someone constantly makes sarcastic or passive-aggressive comments, you can expose their behavior by responding with, "Oh, I see you're making another sarcastic comment. Is that something you do often?" This makes them self-conscious about their habit and puts them in a position where they either have to acknowledge it or stop doing it. Another approach could be, "You seem to have a lot of subtle digs today. Everything okay?" This not only calls them out, but also shifts the focus onto why they are acting this way, making them uncomfortable. 3. Condescending attitude. If someone constantly talks down to you, making you feel as if they think you're incompetent, try responding with, "You're speaking to me like I don't understand this. Is there a reason for that?" This forces them to acknowledge their tone and rethink how they are communicating. Alternatively, you can say, "I've noticed you tend to explain things to me in a way that feels a bit condescending. Is that intentional?" This makes them confront their own behavior, and in most cases, they will either backtrack or change their tone. 4. Unnecessary criticism. If someone is always finding something to criticize about you, you can turn it back on them by saying, "You seem to have a lot of opinions about what I do. Does that help you feel better about yourself?" This subtle but powerful response makes them rethink why they feel the need to critique you constantly. Another variation is, "I've noticed you always have something negative to say about me. Is there a reason for that?" This puts them in an uncomfortable position where they have to justify their behavior. The key to making the mirror effect work. To use this technique effectively, you need to stay completely composed. If you sound frustrated or angry, the other person may respond with even more hostility. Here's how to perfect your delivery. Keep your tone neutral. Speak in a steady, calm voice. This makes your words more impactful and prevents the situation from escalating. Use confident body language. Maintain eye contact, keep a relaxed posture, and avoid defensive movements like crossing your arms. This shows that you are in control. Pause after your statement. A brief silence after your words can make the other person feel even more self-conscious. Let them sit with the discomfort. Keep your response short. Long explanations weaken the impact. A short, direct statement is much more effective. When to use the mirror effect. The mirror effect works best in situations where someone is being rude, dismissive, or condescending. It is especially useful in workplace interactions. If a coworker or boss is being unnecessarily rude, calmly calling attention to their behavior can shift the dynamic. Social settings. Whether it's a friend, acquaintance, or stranger, this technique helps you maintain control without escalating the situation. Family relationships. Sometimes relatives can be the rudest people we deal with. Using the mirror effect can set boundaries without causing drama. However, this technique is not ideal for dealing with highly aggressive individuals. If someone is being outright hostile, it may be safer to remove yourself from the situation instead. Why rude people hate the mirror effect? People who behave rudely are usually not expecting to be called out, especially in a calm, composed manner. They enjoy making others feel uncomfortable, but when the spotlight is turned on them, they suddenly don't like it. The mirror effect makes them feel self-conscious about their actions. Instead of being in control of the conversation, they are now on the defensive. They have to either justify their behavior, which is difficult, or correct it, which is uncomfortable for them. Most of the time, after being mirrored once or twice, people think twice before acting rudely toward you again. The next time someone is rude to you, resist the urge to argue or get defensive. Instead, hold up a mirror and make them see their own behavior for what it is. Stay calm, deliver your words with confidence, and let them sit with the discomfort. This technique not only helps you stand your ground, but also teaches people that they can get away with being rude without facing the consequences of their own actions. Over time, you may find that people begin treating you with more respect because they know you won't tolerate anything less. 5. The ultimate disarmament, kindness. One of the most unexpected and effective ways to deal with a rude person is to respond with kindness. While it may seem counterintuitive, this approach has the power to completely shift the dynamic of a conversation. People who are rude often expect confrontation, frustration, or a similar negative reaction in return. By responding with kindness, you take away their power and, in many cases, leave them speechless. Imagine someone says to you, "You're so annoying." Instead of snapping back or becoming defensive, you simply smile and say, "I appreciate your honesty. Have a great day." This response is so unexpected that it throws them off completely. Many rude people thrive on negativity, and when they don't get the reaction they're looking for, their power diminishes. They are left with nothing to feed their rudeness. The power of kindness. Kindness is a form of emotional intelligence. It allows you to stay in control of the situation and maintain your composure, even when others are trying to provoke you. Responding with kindness does not mean allowing others to mistreat you. Rather, it means choosing a reaction that serves you best. It gives you the upper hand, helping you navigate difficult interactions with grace and confidence. When someone is rude, they are often projecting their own frustrations, insecurities, or stress onto others. Their negativity is rarely about you. It's about them. By responding with kindness, you refuse to engage in their negativity and instead offer them something they may not even realize they need: compassion. In some cases, a simple kind response can completely change their mood and perspective. Examples of kindness in action. To see the effectiveness of kindness, consider these examples. A coworker rudely says, "You always mess things up." Instead of arguing, you reply with a calm smile, "I appreciate your feedback. I'll do my best to improve." This response keeps the interaction from escalating and may even prompt them to reconsider their approach. A stranger at the grocery store snaps, "You're in my way." Instead of getting upset, you move aside and say, "Oh, I didn't see you there. Have a great day." The unexpected kindness can make them pause and reflect on their behavior. A family member criticizes your choices, saying, "That's a terrible idea." Instead of reacting negatively, you respond, "I see your perspective. Thanks for sharing." By acknowledging their opinion without hostility, you keep the conversation civil and open. Each of these responses prevents the situation from escalating. More often than not, the rude person will either soften their tone or feel embarrassed about their own behavior. This approach not only diffuses negativity, but also allows you to take control of how the interaction unfolds. Why kindness works. It shifts the energy. When you respond with kindness, you change the tone of the interaction. Instead of letting their negativity spread to you, you project positivity. It maintains your dignity. Engaging in rudeness brings you down to their level. Kindness keeps you in control of your emotions and actions. It sets an example. By responding kindly, you show others a better way to handle difficult situations. You may even inspire them to do the same in their interactions. It can transform relationships. Sometimes, a consistently kind response can soften even the hardest hearts over time. It promotes inner peace. Choosing kindness not only affects others, but also helps you maintain a sense of calm and well-being, reducing stress and frustration. The challenge of being kind. Responding with kindness is not always easy, especially when someone is being particularly harsh or disrespectful. It takes self-control and emotional strength to resist the urge to retaliate. However, the long-term benefits are worth it. You'll find that choosing kindness not only diffuses conflicts, but also makes you feel better about yourself. Instead of carrying resentment or anger, you walk away feeling empowered and in control. Additionally, practicing kindness can serve as a personal growth opportunity. The more you train yourself to respond with kindness, the more it becomes second nature. Over time, you may notice that you are less affected by negativity and better equipped to handle stressful situations with a calm and level-headed approach. The ripple effect of kindness. Kindness has a way of spreading beyond the immediate situation. When you respond to rudeness with kindness, you set an example for others who witness the exchange. Your ability to remain composed and kind might inspire someone else to do the same in a similar situation. In this way, a single act of kindness can create a ripple effect, positively influencing multiple people beyond the original interaction. Moreover, kindness can help strengthen relationships over time. If a coworker, friend, or family member is used to reacting with negativity, your consistent kindness might gradually encourage them to adopt a more positive approach in their interactions. While it won't always happen immediately, small acts of kindness can plant the seed for long-term change. In a world where negativity can spread quickly, kindness is a powerful tool. It disarms rudeness, transforms interactions, and allows you to rise above negativity. The next time you encounter a rude person, try responding with kindness. You may be surprised at how effective it can be, not only for diffusing the situation, but also for your own peace of mind. By choosing kindness, you create a space of positivity in your life and in the lives of those around you. While you may not be able to change every rude person you meet, you can control your response, and that is where true power lies. At the end of the day, confidence and self-control are your greatest weapons against disrespect. Whether you choose silence to let negativity fade, sarcasm to turn the situation around with humor, or kindness to disarm hostility, the key is always to stay in control. The way you respond to rudeness defines not only the outcome of the interaction, but also the way you carry yourself in life. By choosing to remain composed, you protect your energy, maintain your self-respect, and set an example for others. Handling difficult people isn't about winning an argument or proving a point. It's about maintaining your inner peace and refusing to let negativity dictate your actions. Every interaction is an opportunity to demonstrate strength, patience, and emotional intelligence. The more you practice these strategies, the easier it becomes to navigate challenging social situations with grace and confidence. If you found this guide helpful, don't forget to hit that like button and share it with someone who might need these tools. Let's build a world where we respond to negativity with wisdom and rise above the chaos. Subscribe for more strategies to handle tough situations like a pro, and stay tuned for the next lesson in mastering communication and self-control. Until next time, stay strong, stay kind, and keep growing.